Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is the last day of the Out With A Bang Last Days of Summer collaboration. So this collaboration's been running all month. It started on the 1st of August and last day today. There have been heaps and heaps of creators. There have been at least one and mostly two collaborators each day. With different projects, so and they all had a prompt. So there's the prompt list for the month. Today, as I said, is the 31st, and it's my day, and the prompt is torn edges. So I'll be making something using that prompt. But before I go ahead with my project, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that took part in the collaboration, all of the collaborators. You know, it's a lot of work for them to actually create something special using the prompts that they've been given. Sometimes it can be a bit hard and a bit of a trial for them to come up with something off the top of their heads because they don't know in advance what their prompt might be. So we've had some really interesting takes on some of the prompts, very entertaining. I'll put a link in the description box to a playlist that shows all of the videos that have been created for this collaboration. There's also a hashtag, here it is here, JJF Out With A Bang 25. If you type that hashtag into YouTube, any videos that have been created, whether they're by the collaborators or by anybody that are related to this collaboration will come up, and there'll be all sorts of inspiration for you there. So really I wanted to say thank you to all of the collaborators that helped us with this, and also thank you to everybody that took part, made a project, posted it on Facebook or wherever they posted it. A lot of posts were made in the Junk Journal Fix with Sunflowers and Doors Facebook group. That's a great Facebook group run by Mandy. So if you want more inspiration, pop over there. If you're not already a member of that Facebook group, join up. It's very inspirational. There's always something happening over there. Mandy runs all sorts of different, every month there's something new collaboration wise, or she has heaps and heaps of freebies over there, so go over and check it out. Alright, so everything you need to know will be in the description box. So now I'm going to do my project for today, 31st, which is torn edges. So let's get started on that. Okay, so a week or so ago I made some belly bands. Let me see, here we go. So this is it here, and this pulls out and we've got writing space on all sides, and that is a belly band, and under the belly band I've got this journaling card. Now I have got it secured so that when you're opening the page and that it's not flopping about, with a normal paper clip, and I'm going to make some hidden paper clips to do that job instead of just the plain paper clip. So that's my project, and I have used my tear ruler to tear one edge, and I'm going to do the same from the other. Now I'm just winging it. There are so many videos around on different ways to make hidden paper clips, and you know, fold here, fold there, whatever. But I was laying in bed the other night and I thought, oh, there must be a simple way to do this. So this is the simplest way I could think of, and I tried it with just a piece of scrap paper and I think it's going to work. So let's see. Now so you can see I've torn both the edges there. How wide is it? I reckon, what is that, 8 inches. So if I do, just roughly tear it up into, make 3. So if I do about there, they don't have to be exactly the same width. You can use a tear ruler. You can just tear it by hand. If you haven't got a tear ruler, you can make one. I've seen someone use a plastic ruler, not this one because it's a tea ruler, but you just take your file and file bits and pieces out of it, and then you can use it as a tear ruler, or you can just tear it by hand. So there we go, let's go about there. So this is an A3 sheet. I haven't cut anything off of the width of the sheet, and I'm just cutting it down to 3. So you can see they're not all the same. They're all different actually. They're all completely different. But that will be fine. So let's start with the widest one. Now, if you're an inker, you want to ink, and if you're not an inker, you'll save yourself a lot of time. But I do like the look of inking, especially when I've got that white edge on there. So I'll just do one for now. Actually, that's a bit too much white edge for my liking, so I'll just tear that off a bit. Depends which way you tear your paper, where you get your white edge. So this is a really simple way of making a hidden paper clip. Right, so first thing, fold in halves. I can see that I'm going to have to ink along here because I will be able to see bits and pieces of that. Now I'm going to fold this up to that score mark, to that fold I mean, and I'm going to fold this one up to meet that score mark. It's a bit hard to see. I might actually ink that so I can see where I'm folding to. It's a bit better. Okay. Right, so first of all, fold that one back like so, and you can put 1 or 2. Because this is a bit wider, I'm going to put 2 paper clips on it. Okay, then we're going to fold that one over there, and then that one over there. Now, as I said, because I've torn that, I'm going to have to ink those edges because I will be able to see them. You could just you know, double side print on both sides of your paper. So like put a background print on this of a neutral sort of a page, and then you wouldn't have to do this step. But of course, if the white edges don't phase you, if your journal, you know, has got white, or the white part of, you know, you're using white pages or something in your journal, then you can leave it white. But I'm using coffee dyed papers and vintage florals, so I'm going to ink mine. So let's put our paper clips back on. You can just position them wherever you like. I'm going to take them sort of out to the side. I'm leaving about 1/2 inch that either way. Then I'm going to fold that over there, and then I'm going to fold that down there. And of course they're not going to meet up because this one has to go over the top of here, so it just takes up that little bit of extra space. Now you can cut that there if you wish, and actually, do I want to ink that? Okay, so let's go back a step. So I'm going to fold that over there, and I'm going to burnish that down. Then I'm going to bring this over and try and burnish that down a bit. Now you can see I've got this here that I don't want. So I'm going to use my scissors and trim that off. Actually, what I am going to do is trim that off a bit more, because I want them to be a different length. I think it just makes it easier to put them on, to attach them to your page when you can see the varying levels. Okay, so now we've got that trimmed up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to apply glue here. Let that run down a bit. I've actually had this bottle clog up a couple of times with this glue, which is most unusual. I have printed this onto a sturdier paper. I think it's a 200 GSM paper or cardstock, because if you use normal copier paper, you tend to be able to feel and see your paper clips through your paper. I mean, you can't actually see them, but you can see the ridges. Whereas if we use a slightly heavier paper or cardstock, you don't see it as much, so it's just a little bit nicer. I like to just add a little bit of glue on top of the paper clips, so try and stop them moving around. Whether it does or not, I don't know. Okay, let's I'm going to use some of these little pegs. Try and hold that down until the glue grips, because I want to make sure that I get a nice gluing and everything's going to stay in place. Okay, so let that dry a bit. Now let's do another one. So I'm going to do exactly the same as I did for that. So just to refresh what we did, we ink the edge. So if you don't want the white edge, you tear it away from you. If you want the white edge, you tear it towards you. And there are times when you do want the white edge, you know, if you're looking for a differentiation between your two papers or something like that, that white edge can be quite useful. So once again, the paper is 11 3/4 inches long. This one I tore at 3 inches wide. This one is 2 5/8, and this one is 2 1/8. So now okay, so simply fold in half, burnish. We're going to move these folds around. Some will be the other way. Actually, we need to ink the inside edges, don't we, just so that we're not looking at white paper. You can see there, that's where I've torn a layer of the paper off. As I said, it's 200 GSM, so it's quite sturdy. I've just ordered some new vintage photo ink pads and re-inkers because this one's starting to get a bit dry. It didn't last as long as the last one. I don't know how come. I treated it exactly the same, but oh well, that's life, I suppose. Okay, so now we've got that inked so we can see what we're doing. We're going to fold that one up to there. Try and make sure we get it straight. Burnish that. And we're going to fold this one up to there. Try and get it straight. Okay. So, take our first one. Add our paper clips. Once again, I'll do 2. Then we take this and fold it over there, and then this one over there. And when we do that, we can squeeze a little bit more out of that bottom layer. You might be able to see, not really, but if we sort of push the bottom layer down, you might find that it moves a little bit and sits nice and flat. See how that bottom layer's sitting nice and flat there now? Okay, so now we want to cut these two so that they're a bit shorter. We could tear them. Should we tear them? Okay, let's. Now I'm going to tear it backwards because I don't want the white. There we go. And so yeah, so I tore it away from me so that I don't get the white. Should probably ink around that inside there. Okay, very good. So now time to glue. So we're going to glue here. So once we've got these all glued up and nicely set so that they don't move around, we can embellish them a little. Being made with this pattern paper, you know, they're pretty as they are. You wouldn't really need to embellish them if you didn't want to. So I'm just going to try and push that down. Make sure it's got a good grip. Then add the glue to the top layer. Doesn't matter whether you add it to this part or this part, it's the same. Works out the same in the end. Now we'll fold that over and fold that down. Our little clips. These clips are very handy. Okay, now I won't do this one on camera. I'm going to do it exactly the same way. So now let's take our clips off of here. And see what I mean? It's quite pretty as it is, isn't it? You know. Let's see, where's that page? Okay. Take that off. And we want this to, we can put it on either way. But by having this difference here, it makes it much easier to slide that on there. Okay, so that holds that perfectly in place. Love it. Love, love, love. And it's easy. Now, we can decorate this with, actually, oh yeah, I will keep that. Let me just grab some paper. I've got this paper, and I have also got, I should, I've got this coffee dye paper as well. I'm just thinking. I might tear into that and make a pocket on here. So I'm going to tear that. Like that. And make this that big. Oops. Let's ink around it. So we're going to make a little pocket that will sit on here. I'll be able to put a little something in the pocket. Okay, so let's just run some glue along there, down there, and along there. And that can sit on there, like that. Okay, so now we've got a little tag that can sit in there, and I've got a little bit of lace that I will add on that. Can go on there, that's pretty. And let's see what we've got that we can decorate that with. I've got some fussy cuts here from the kit. Okay, we might just use this. It has already been inked around. I'll do it again. So pop that on there, and then just a little label. We could stamp on this label. Let me just grab a stamp. Okay, something small. Could do like express or received or certified. Let's try that certified. Yep, so this came from Temu, and it was $2.08 for this kit, this set. Have to work out how to get it out of here. There we go. Right, let's see if that fits. Perfect. So let's put it on there. Try and get it straight. Okay. And I'll do it with the same vintage photo ink. I haven't used this before, so I should just stamp it off to see that it works. Perfect. Perfection. Okay, so let's get that on there. There we go, certified. Now we can, oh, I haven't stuck that down. I could put a little bit of, I've got a little bit of string here somewhere. If you could see what's up there, you'd be very surprised. Okay, here's the, it's actually wool that I have coffee dyed. It was white, and all I got to do now is find the end. There we go. So we don't need a great deal of it, just a little something to put through there. If you can hear noise in the background, my husband is talking on the phone, so he does tend to talk quite loud when he's talking on the phone. Okay. That's cute. Let's trim these off a little. Stick it down. And this. There we go. Now, what else have we got we can put in here? These are just little decorative items. They're not, I mean, you can write on them if you want to. There are some tickets in the kit too. That'd be useful in there. You could use them in there as well. So there's that one. This is a nice plain one. You can write on both sides of this one if you wanted to. You could also back these, of course, onto coffee dyed paper or file folder or something like that to give them a bit of extra strength. But I'm just using them as a decoration, so I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so there we go. We've got a cute little hidden paper clip. Okay, so my camera stopped recording and I got caught out once again, which is a pain in the butt. But anyway, here's the one that I was working on when the camera cut out. So I've finished the decoration and I've added these two little tags to just pop in there. Now, when I added this to the band, the belly band that I wanted to put it on, it was not good. It was sideways. Oops. So it went on like that. I didn't like it. So, I mean, it works, it does the job, but I thought, no, that's no good. So I went ahead and did this one, and I created the same thing, except instead of lace, I used some cheesecloth, and I've used like a circle that I've cut a piece off of a ticket and a label on there. And in here, I've got a little tag, a label and a ticket, and they're just sitting in the pocket, so it's got the same sort of pocket that the other one's got. And this one can go on sideways. Now, the two paper clips make it very sturdy, very good big grip, especially because there's an A4 sheet of coffee dyed paper folded up under there, so it's very stiff. It probably will work its way up as you know, as you take it in and out and in and out. So that's the one for that one. And then I went ahead and made another one, this one. So this was the smaller one that we tore up, and I have made this one. I didn't put a pocket on the front of this one. I just put some of the coffee dyed paper and a little tag and another little tag, and this one goes on this side of the belly band like that. So you know, that's really good. That holds everything nicely in place. That's not going to come off at all. And then that gives me this one to add to a page like at the top, like that, for example. I won't put it on that one because that's on my centre page, but it will go on a page somewhere. Okay, so that's 3 little hidden paper clips using my prompt of torn edges. There we go, there's the third one. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, I'd love it if you give me a thumbs up and you know, subscribe if you feel inclined, if you've enjoyed it. And yeah, and once again, a big thank you to all of the collaborators in the collaboration. I really loved seeing all of the inspiration that they supplied us with. And yeah, well, thank you for joining me, and I hope you can join me when I post my next video. Okay, bye.